You kind of know what it is, but I'm gonna.
Let's see if I can get everybody in there. That works.
Oh yeah, it's fine. He's gonna leave this laptop here to film, to stream it.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna have y'all.
We're gonna get the floor.
Okay.
I'm Brett. Nice to meet you.
Jackie, this is Robert. Everybody have a pen?
Yes.
Or do y'all need me to get y'all one?
Alright, I think that should be good.
You need a pen? You get your pen.
Yeah.
You got a pen? Oh, you got it. All right, you get it. Okay.
Okay,
All
go
right,
ahead.
try not to move that. We're
Yeah,
gonna
just don't
stream,
jiggle
so
too
y'all are
much.
good.
I think it should be fine.
I know y'all are all familiar with what this is and everything. But basically, we're just going to make it really quick to be thoughtful. We're going to do questions and answers. We're going to have you go from 1 so we're going to go from just 1 to 10 in these categories. We're going to go from idea, concept. They may not have invented it, but see how they carried it through too, right? So that's part of the progress. How much do you really think they did? And they're going to convey that to you. It's kind of like completeness, but we don't expect them to be complete. But we want to see that they did something. Did they produce a lot of work? Like, wow, that's a lot. Right? Difficulty. Obviously, some things are technically more difficult than others. Also, not just technically, but socially to be accepted as well. Right? Impact. This is the impact for the community, the world, whatever it's supposed to, whatever the target market is. So, how does it affect change? And could it actually be implemented? Is it realistic? Even if it is, it's fine. But that's part of that score. So you interpret that how you want. I'm not going to guideline it too much.
So basically, did they explain to us how they were planning to roll it out?
Well, presentation's a whole lot. So that's about did they convey this to you. So if they miss something completely, you may say, well, yeah, they did it, but they just weren't good at explaining it. You're going to give them a hit on the presentation. You give them a good score there. Or vice versa, potentially. I don't know. So,
Terry, where would marketability, or where would
that's kind of where impact is. I mean, I would roll that into impact. You could roll it in anything you want, to be honest with you. This is just a guideline. This is since you're doing every one, it's going to all be graded by you. Your scores will all match, right? With somebody else. So since they're all going to be averaged out, at the end, basically, it's just to get a number. So let's say 10 times this week. So let's say we get a 36 or a 32, whatever. We're going to go outside. We're going to add them up. And so if one guy got 120, one guy got 96. We're just going to take probably the top 5 or 6. Just list those out in order, and then we're going to look at them and go, I'm not, y'all are. It's really just to get the top 6. That way it cuts everybody out. Then y'all can go through and go, this is the top place score, this is second place score, this is third place. And then look at 4th and 5th, maybe 6th. And does 3rd and 4th place nice? Do you want to switch? How about first? You can move them if they're like really close, because these are guidelines. And then you say, then y'all can debate. That's where the deliberation is. But this will help y'all to minimize all that deliberation. Y'all might just go, I'm good with it. If everybody says I'm good, we'll just walk out.
Okay, so difficulty is really about how socially.
It's socially and technically. So it could be like some random project that's ridiculous, or it could be like an external little app they didn't work with, but maybe it was hard to implement because it was difficult.
So progress would be how far along, how much of a demo did they build, and then idea and concept.
So they should progress. They should be telling you how far. I'm going to go over this. So the progress they should kind of relate that to like was it started or did this just like, or was it already paid for? Now, we heard about many about it. It's not like you did everything in this like few minutes.
So is that what I'm saying? Is that a good thing? That's a good thing that you've had. It's more flushed out. That would be closer to a 10.
I mean, no. It just means that.
No. So
It means that you don't grade some. If they spent 6 months beforehand and they show up, you don't give them a progress score at 10 because
Right.
they did. But you understand that they did. Now, can that affect it? You just want to know what they did this weekend. It's really about this weekend.
Yeah.
But can it affect it? Yeah. But that's up to you. I'm not going to put any requirements.
So if it's a group size, right? Obviously, they can get more or less done. Right?
That's true. That's part of it. But bigger groups maybe.
So,
I don't know.
but those are the questions that we would need to ask. Like, when has this started, or how we did what?
Okay. All right. So y'all get the rating. Right? Okay. So here. So write the team name. I'm gonna have them. Hopefully, they'll tell you.
How many teams are there?
9.
9. Okay.
I'm gonna mix them beforehand here. Then standout is for you. If you see someone, we have some prizes. And depending on who gets first, second, third, I might have an extra 10 prizes. I might not. Just write down the name, and that way, if we can, and then y'all can agree on like a top.
Yeah.
But then we can pull those people and give them individual prizes. So if you're like technically crazy expert, you write their name, or wow, this person just blew me away, whatever reason. You can name the prize, do it. You can name the
It's all
prize.
whatever you want.
Everybody needs a gift to get one prize.
So this is the individual.
Individual name. So somebody. You don't
Everybody
have to do
what?
it. Sometimes you may not.
Oh, each one of us gives
But
out
you need
one
to at least
particular.
put a couple so that
standout
y'all can
person.
come together and say, wow, everybody for this guy. Okay. So, right? And then that's for you, in case you go deliberation or you need something to refer to, you can remember. Okay?
Sure.
I know.
Yeah.
Remind I'm going to go through real quick. Okay. Co-founder, what do you want to call it? Marketing maven? What?
Marketing
You need to
maven.
know what that was. What company do you want to
Oh, I see. Okay, no,
Fusion,
just
iFusion, marketing.
startup marketer and Veg Atlanta editor. Those two. Yes.
Here's 4 guys. They do stuff. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Startup.
marketer and
Jack, you want some drink?
Veg Atlanta.
You want to drink or something?
Yes. Anything diet or water.
Yeah,
And Lisa, you are director of
market, business development.
business. Rick is
Member of the
is he director of innovation office? He's mayor's office. What? Whatever. Director.
innovation.
Innovation.
Yeah.
Kind of all things innovative at the city. That's what I was just thinking. I like that.
He just promoted him.
Cool. I'm all about it. All right, Robert, I got you.
Really just want to say
Hey, girl. Good to see you. See you got some bubble teas or something. How you doing?
good.
Thanks for coming. We're about to go. I'll talk to you later. All right. There it is. Should work.
I'm multitasking for your story. Yeah. I got like rolling your eyes.
I'm so excited that we just got out. Oh my gosh, I get out there.
Oh, I can imagine.
Everybody's so.
But it's exciting to show it. You can show
Oh,
it, right?
yeah, I'm excited. It's going to go up on our website. I think it's a big deal. You get that. By you being there, I cannot have it's a good thing as well.
This is when you know you succeeded. When someone is a credit. You know you succeeded. That's how you gotta have to look at it.
But like,
Patrick.
you know,
Patrick. You come.
Well, somebody came out of it. We have to talk. It's intellectual.
Well, and the lab, the third one was too long, so we just didn't know how to. But so the stuff, the group had to try, but they got a little. So what the down on their own, not the Apple Store, but the other one.
The Google Play?
Android.
Yeah, Google, yeah, that one. Google Play.
It's on Google. The fact that they're going to start using stuff called commercialization. Now, this is not a typical area, which is the fact that it came out from the government is just and now they're just kind of like, but they're kind of like thinking about, is there any fire to get in trouble? And I'm like, whatever.
You see our PR person that can go pitches to the national team. Yes. Can I? Okay, you didn't know. I didn't know. Never mind. It's called culpable deniability.
Diet Coke.
This is what
Hey, another quick thing.
Yep.
So we're gonna give them. They've got three. We suggested 3 minutes. 4 minutes is the hard thing. So they're gonna get up to 4 minutes. Then they get 2 minutes for just the judges to ask questions. If they finish at like 2 minutes, they get up to 6 minutes. So they can ask more questions. So the shorter they are, the more questions they get from you.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'm not gonna like it's harsh, but you know.
I don't know, we should how to because I need to make sure we don't get scared. Well, you gotta yeah, those two are no problem.
It's a real.
Well, I think the part, let me change something. They said that it's too hard for that's the name of the so I have to tweet the name, but I'll send it to you. I think one, but I think it's great. It's a new area.
Wait, so apparently we're the second largest, the second city with the most number of hackathons during this week. You know that? Oh, yeah. In the country, we're the second. That's
And the fact that the release went out last yesterday,
but they don't get the.
that's okay.
I've been learning about goofy things on the internet for the last 2-3 days again. There's this one guy, there's this one idiotic, crazy Swede guy named PewDiePie. He's got 4 million bugs following 4 million threads.
Wow.
And he does these get warmed up, get him to understand things.
He goes through and he plays video games and he talks about them as he's going through. Watch for this and this, and he makes all these things.
Hey everybody, y'all are
3
ready?
or 4 shows a week. That's just
We're gonna
great.
begin. Can everybody hear me all right? I feel like I'm screaming, projecting. Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming. It takes a lot for people to, give up not just a little while, but an entire weekend to do something for the world. So everybody's here. You should feel a little good about yourself. Did something, kind of cool. And so we want to thank the people that kind of helped us and made this possible, first off. So I'm going to go through some of the sponsors and just thank them because they're the ones that paid for this tremendous amount of food. That you maybe still be Career Builder and Google, of course, our platinum sponsors. So Crowd of Guys came all the way from Seattle, 3 of them. And because, So I know they helped a couple people on their hacks, and so they're valuable assets, as well as just coming to support the community is great. I mean, coming all the way across the country, it's not like there aren't other random hacks of kindness, and Civic Hack Day events going on, but they chose to come to Atlanta. In addition, I'll thank Patrick from Peace Corps, which is, where is he at? Give a wave. So, of course, the second time you've come all the way from Washington, D.C., and apparently we've swayed you that, you know, we're the best. Right.
All right.
So we're doing something right. So I'm going to hand it off to Matilda for a second. And thank all our other sponsors as well. Needworks, I don't think they could make it today. Knight Foundation, as well as all our community sponsors that help get the word out and make this event a success. I want to hand it off to Matilda, who was a great help as well.
All the organizers, folks who helped put this together, can you please stand up and, you know, give a round of applause to them. Al, I don't know where you are, and Jack, and Heather's not here. You know, Terry was mentioning Sakata. It's funny because you could actually follow stuff that's going on through your tweets. I saw several people be like, the Sakata guys just like helped us a ton, thanks. And like everybody was like tweeting about the food and everything, and you're like, what's the best food? Oh, and the hashtag for those who were not here earlier is, there's actually two, and they're sort of on the whiteboard over there, but they're pretty far. So the national hashtag is Hack for Change, and then the local one is Civic Hacks ETL, in case anybody wants to be tweeting on Twitter. Oh, and then actually, are we live streaming right now then?
Yeah.
Awesome. So the Sakata guys also helped us, you know, set up the live stream, and I'm assuming you're going to be tweeting out the link in a second, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so retweet him if you want your friends to be able to watch, and tell them all to come at 3 o'clock for the block party, the civic block party. I think that's it, right?
No, I need one thing before we move on. I need everybody to kind of go a little crazy for just like a nice
Go
shot.
crazy!
Come on, That's it. You know what? There's no sound. So. They won't know that one.
And on the live stream, they can only see the two of us. So I'd say there's probably what, over 100 people in here right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so first up, grade school people, civil grade work.
No. We need to. I'm not. Let me go through the judging.
Oh, great.
Okay, so we got some distinguished judging panel here, so I'm going to introduce them one by one. We have Robert Swarthop from Shootproof, who's the founder, and he has a long time technical background, entrepreneurship, and all things startup tech, right? Jackie Chu, who is a editor at Venture Atlanta and a startup marketer, right? Among other things. We just want to keep it
Today.
Today, okay. Eloisa Clementich, and give a wave, yeah. So everybody can see you.
Oh, nice royal wave there.
Very nice.
I have to be professional. My daughter's here for the first time, so I want to thank her for coming out and just show her that I do am important sometimes.
So Eloisa has worked with me on, as well as Rick, on Govathon, and she's with Invest Atlanta, Director of Business Development, and was instrumental in making that a success. And we'll be hearing from her later today as well, but we're going to get right into the projects. And then we have Rick, who is the, let me get it right. The Mayor's Office Director of Innovation Team, or the Mayor's Office Innovation Team, Director of Innovation.
You're getting there. That's really,
there's
you get a lot
innovation,
closer.
there's team, Mayor's Office. So, you know, he's the to-go guy when it comes to, you know, getting into the city. And he's always out, you know, see him all out at Hype and always at ATDC and all around. Actually, a lot of these people. So we have a diverse crowd, and I think we have a good mix of the judge makeup and backgrounds, technical, marketing, government, nonprofit, right?
I just want to say too, my son was over here, Ricky. He's over there. He's probably watching PewDiePie right about now. But if any of you guys know who that is, I'm sure you do. But I wanted to bring him and let him know what I do as well. So thank you very much.
There you go. It's a family affair. We have we have at least 2 teams. That we have a father-son. We have a couple of brothers. There's 2 father-son teams at least. Is that right? And 2 brothers. Any other? Oh yes, and we have the whole family over here. So yeah, so it's becoming a family event. So that's kind of cool, right? So the way the judging is going to go down. Just to give you a quick makeup, I'm not going to go through every little thing, but the projects are going to be judged on the idea, the concept, progress, difficulty, impact to not just socially, but the world, everything, right? The presentation will also count, and so it's sort of a well-rounded way to judge as well. So the presentations will be up to 4 minutes with a hard deadline, hopefully around 3, and then the judges only will be able to ask questions. So audience, kind of keep quiet. I know y'all want to ask questions, but we'd be here for literally 4 or 5 hours if we let everybody in. So we can talk at the event downstairs at the tent party, if you want to learn more. So without further ado, I'm going to invite the first team, Simple Grade Book, up, and we'll start rolling. Just unplug that. I'm not going to spend time. Ready. Just look at me. Okay. And for all teams, I'm the timer. I'm going to have this pointed at you the entire time. So there won't be something in front of you. So you do have to be aware to look over. So one of your teammates may want to give you a nudge if you get into the 3-minute range.
All right, good afternoon, guys. We are the Simple Grade Book team. Oh,
Mike.
I'm too tall for this thing. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, good afternoon. This has been my first hackathon. I've got to say I'm so impressed and surprised by everyone here. I've got a great team behind me, and I think we've made some good progress. The challenge we were presented with is to create a very simple, lightweight grade book for teachers in third world countries that the Peace Corps could go into these schools and put it on their computers. Because right now there are some solutions available, but they aren't in English, and if they are in the native language, they might be too complicated, so they're intimidating to use. So we've created our application to be extremely easy to modify in terms of the language. So there's just a config file, you open it up, and it's just literally a CSV. It's you have the English and then translated. It takes 5 minutes to go and just change all of the text within there. So this application will eventually be able to be used all over the world. So one of our initial concerns was, is there technology out there, or do we actually have the hardware in these developing countries? The answer is yes. A lot of these schools, if they don't have a full-blown computer lab like here, each classroom, from what I understand, there's a good chance that they'll actually have a laptop. And there's also a catch-22 here, which is really important to mention, which is some of these schools aren't getting computers because if there's no software for them to use, they're not going to get computers. And then also, who's going to create the software if they don't have computers? So I think it's really great that we're able to step in and do something like this. So we had a lot of oversight with this. We were able to speak with Ryan, who was the one who wanted us to speak to start the project. We chatted with him this morning, actually, in Georgia. Amanda's here. Amanda's from the Peace Corps, and she's an educational specialist, as well as Caitlin on our team. And she's an associate professor of education at GSU, and Patrick from the Peace Corps. So it was sort of fun talking to everyone. We had some teachers here. And I can't speak highly enough of our dev team. It's really cool. I think it's so cool. But before we go into the demo, we really need your help. We have a fully functional backend. We have a prototype UI. We have to link the front end and the back end. If we could get some help with the front end, the better off we'll be able to be to actually have something that works. So we're going to do a demo real quick, and from here you can see you just have different classes, very easy, add a new class. So the teacher we'll just click on class, and from here we have different groups: assignments, attendance, student reports. In assignments, you could create a new assignment. You click on the assignment, and from here, you could give the assignment a name, give it one of the categories, which when you go to the class setup, you weight the different categories, and then from there type in the grade. So we thought it's fairly simple to use. It's not something like a complicated Excel spreadsheet. We have attendance, which you could mark up for different people, and the ability to go back to different dates. And then also within student reports, we don't have that UI ready, but we do have a mock-up, so that's good enough. All right, and yeah. And besides that, we have a setup page, and that's where we are. We would really love some help. You can find us on GitHub under Simple Gradebook. If anyone has some UI experience, we'd really love some help. So thanks, guys.
Okay, my first question. So this is for teachers in third world countries.
Right.
And is this for some sort of reporting function for an NGO, for funding? Help us understand why they would need this.
So from what I understand right now, the teachers are using pen and paper, and this application is going to help. There's an email function within the reporting, so it's supposed to help increase the use of technology with the teachers and getting parents involved. If you can email out the report cards to the parents. Within the class setup, you have the parents' email as well as the print function. They have printers, but where are they going to print? So right now with pen and paper, there's just not a whole lot that you can do in terms of getting the family involved.
Also with the pen and paper, it would be very difficult to calculate when you have 30, 40 students in class. With the computer software, you can just make average grades, things like that.
And they could weight it however they want it. It's difficult to do that.
So I also teach for the University of Maryland, so I've had some of the same issues, but how would you account for if they're late or they only get half points? I mean, is there flexibility to say, that their grade reflects that, so then, you have 30 students, how do you remember who was late and then?
Right, so right now there is not that. When we spoke with Ryan, when we spoke with the other Peace Corps volunteers, the biggest thing they were stressing was we want simplicity. We know you could probably add a lot of features. We don't want that because that's what's scaring them away from there's the other options available out there. So we actually had this sort of issue when we first started.
Yeah.
We had all these features. We wanted it to be web enabled. We wanted to the fetch and receive and do all these great things. But then it just came to a point where we can make this. We could just completely redesign it for the entire world. But we want to make it very simple.
You mentioned the English language. You said you're trying to make this focused on the English language, or you're making it in the local language? I'm not sure.
I think he misspoke. It was
okay.
We actually have like the software they have now would be in English, but they would need it to be in the native language.
Right.
So the Peace Corps volunteers would actually be the ones going in and setting up the software on the computers. And that's the insight that we got from the people that we collaborated with.
And sort of to Jackie's question, so you're using this to sort of judge and to develop baselines, et cetera, on a local basis. This isn't larger than the school, et cetera. This is really just trying to help them operationally inside school.
So right now it's per classroom, per teacher.
Yeah.
It would be very easy the way we have it set up to say, okay, now we're going school-wide, and we have a principal, user, we have a login system, and then from there, adding online functionality and linking the schools. It can be very easy.
Awesome. Good start. So Pet Facts, start making your way up here. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and announce the next one. Peace Corps medical supplies after. So y'all get ready. When it's over, you'll start walking up here. So Pet Facts, come on up.
Okay. Extra bonus points
For demos.
Alright, who's giving me a close
Hello everybody, this is Nedi and this is my fabulous team that we pulled together here. The idea came up very in this venue. And the idea is about saving the lost pets. And there are, did you guys, I don't know, 5,000 community animal shelters all over the US. And approximately 5 to 7 million animals enter to the shelters. 3 or 4 million of them never makes it. And 60-70% of these cats are lost, and only 1 or 2% of them actually finds their homes. 3-4 million of dogs, because they cannot find their owners in the shelters, they have to be euthanized. And there is no centralized system among all these 5,000 shelters that you can actually conveniently find your dog once it is found. And one of the other important data is about 70% of these cats and dogs actually have a tag and identifying number on them actually. So we wanted to attack the problem of how we can centralize them, just like your car packs, and having a history of the medical information and everything, so that your next owner knows what kind of medication you need, what is your favorite treat, and all this centralized, also serving the purpose of a lost dog having a better home and that transition being easier. And from here.
Okay. So what we did, we wanted to make sure that we could accomplish something this weekend, and then something could be taken forward. So we looked at the concept itself, the challenges and the goals, and then we wanted to make sure what are our very high level requirements, what technology platform we could sit on, and we wanted to build something and really concentrate on the data side of it, because to be honest, the website, user experience and all that we could do later, and that was a really the challenging part of it. And then we wanted to also think through what would we need to do to move this forward, what kind of marketing, what kind of stakeholders should we look at in the future. So this wouldn't just die on the vine, because it kind of sounds like a simple problem, but the benefits, and it is a fairly simple problem, but the benefits very much outweigh the issues of getting it launched forward. So at a high level, the problem statement that we have is we wanted you to be able to register your pet. We also want to be able to pull pet out of shelters and register them for you. We want you to be able to adopt a pet, and also, if I have a pet I want to give up because I have to move to a city, I want to be able to find an owner for it. But more importantly, I have a pet that I found on the street and I want to find an owner, or I've lost my pet and I want you to help me find it. And then also a holistic biography of that pet. And we want to keep it simple, and then we also want to look at the technology platform for that. So real quickly, we'll look at the back end and the demo for it.
So what we accomplished in these 2 short days is we actually prepared we scrapped the data from, there are 46 animal shelters actually in Atlanta that we could find in quick search, and we actually scrapped data from 3 of them just for the proof of the concept, which we could actually duplicate the same kind of scrapping for 46 shelters to make a centralized system. And we start to, this way the shelters, whenever they have a new dog, they can start to connect it to an owner's, whoever adopts a dog, to their email address, and adopt a tag number to that. And this way, this is like a social security number following the dog wherever that dog goes next. And if I'm looking for my dog, I don't have to call 5,000 shelters all around the world in US, and I can just make a search query and find which shelter my dog might end up, and waiting for adoption or euthanasia. And that's why we have this, this is the basic information page. And okay, I'm getting tongue pressure here. And this is basically, I don't know, how do we do this? Problems if I could. Okay. Sorry guys, we don't have to.
You can continue to show stuff, but you're daring. You can't talk about it. It's question time, so feel free to click around.
So how does this interact with the microchipping that you can put in there? Is it in addition to that? I mean,
yes, it's in addition, because microchips can be reprogrammed, and so they can wipe off the information. So it's in addition to the microchipping.
But 60 to 70% animals out there already have a microchip or some kind of identifier, such as tattoo or a rabies shot or some kind of a thing that actually identifies them uniquely. But there's no way to connect them to the owner, current owner. And which this system is, whoever adopts a dog through an email tracking, we can actually have that connection created for the dog. So the owner and the dog actually have some kind of a relationship database created for them. For the next time, this way you can actually keep the data about the dog, the preferences of the dog, the health situations of the dog, or the traumas the dog might have, so the next owner doesn't get
I've got
affected.
a question. How are you planning to, if this is a national database of all animals, of all pets, how are you planning to roll it out?
What we're hoping to do is proof of concept got 3 shelters that has already database. We are scrubbing the data from their websites. Actually, it's a HTML in Atlanta. So there are 5,000 of these. We could be actually having these open source programmers to write for their own shelters using our code base, and basically through API just feeding their data in there.
So would the owners have to put their own information in at some point, so the owner
They
would?
could do that too, but what we are hoping is to be able to make it scalable is the shelters, whenever they have a new dog, they'll just scan it and put in their system with the pictures which they are doing already for their own websites. And then the owners, when they're giving it to somebody for adoption, they can register who got the dog instead of, and then that is a nationally recognized database. And this way, if this person returns the dog to some other shelter, which happens often, because whenever people get a dog, in 6 months they return to some other shelter, this way we know that, okay, this owner has been returning those every 3 months, and we should not be giving them any more dogs.
You know, an opportunity you didn't mention, but necessarily, but Katrina and other natural disasters. I mean, clearly that's an opportunity. There's a lot of stories about.
Yeah, 5 to 7 million animals being lost, and 6 to 70% of them having actual trackable information. Yet we get to lose them because there's no centralized information like our healthcare system or our social security number system. These dogs are all ubiquitous and unidentifiable. If I lose my dog, I'm supposed to call 46 different shelters to be able to find it, and I can't find it.
All right. Next we have the medical supplies order form, Peace Corps group, and up after that we have small business how do I. So get ready to walk up.
Wow.
Is this a large? Yeah, this is a large.
Just like, you're gonna hover here in a very big city.
They split a lot of prize money. You're not doing this for prize money.
No, we're not doing this for the rest of it.
I don't think anyone knows.
No.
Good morning. This challenge is a Peace Corps challenge that goes to the problem of our Peace Corps volunteers serving in 76 countries who, there's 8,000 of them, they're all ordering medical supplies to the Central Peace Corps medical officer in that country. Right now it's becoming too burdensome for our PCMOs to handle all these requests, and it's wasting their time, and they're losing opportunity to deal with the real medical issues that our volunteers are really dealing with. This is the team. It is a massive mega squad of incredibly talented people, and you can read them all there because we can't read them all.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody, but obviously don't have time. So the central problem here, we want to alleviate the burden on PCMOs and medical officers, and also kind of instill some confidence in the Peace Corps volunteers that they'll get their medicine in the face of poor network connectivity or unreliable communications. So here's sort of our idea for handling that problem. We want volunteers to be able to request their medical supplies in 3 different ways: by sending a text message, using a desktop if they happen to have access to it in an internet cafe or something, or on their mobile browser if they have one. SMS is probably the most reliable method. I think something like 94% of volunteers have reliable SMS access. So we really want to target that one. Here's sort of what that request would look like. If you send a request to a number that we can set up like this, that will request for volunteer number 1234567 2 bandages sent to Accra, which the system will route and handle. You should get immediate confirmation that you get the message, so you have that confidence, and then within 24 hours, your officer should respond to you telling you what you're going to need to do to get your medicine. On the web, that looks something like this. It's essentially the same process, but you got a nice order form you can specify what exactly it is you need and any extra requirements you might have. And I think we're going to try and do a live demo here.
Hey guys, so I am a Peace Corps volunteer and I need some medicine, so I am texting. Yes, 30 milligram, 50 units, and I am in Accra, Ghana. So someone, they're a little lag.
We're simulating real life.
Well, for me, I have already received a response that my request has been received and fulfillment details will follow.
Okay, yeah, let me show you the fulfillment process. So the medical officer will just go to our web portal we set up and sign in. They get a list of identities. So 1111 maps to Jack S. This is the request that just came in for acetaminophen. All they have to do is click on it, specify how it will be delivered. In this case, let's say the volunteer has to go purchase it themselves. We don't have any on hand, so there's a message. You can add apology and send it off, and that's it. And hopefully, she should get a text message here momentarily.
I might be back online. Oh yeah, so you can see where I got my tags.
Okay. And
oh, ta-da.
Yeah. So reliable two-way communication. Yeah, so next steps moving forward, we've talked to Patrick a little bit about how we might implement this in production, and I think a lot of the team are very much interested in doing so. If anyone else is interested in contributing, everything's up on GitHub. Come talk to us after. We might have some more.
Yeah, and so the nice part about this is we have 300 Peace Corps medical officers that work within our organization. So we have a really clear path to get to all 76 countries. So we can pilot in a few, get some test cases back, pick out a few bugs, hopefully, or hopefully not, and then I'll keep rolling it out. But it's so simple and so easy. The medical officers are going to call for it. It mirrors their business case right now, so there's not much training involved, and it's just a really nice, elegant solution.
Did you guys start this weekend, or was it already started beforehand?
We did start this weekend. We did, fortunately, a group of us Rails folks got together and set up a blank Rails project, so we may have to hit the ground running, which was nice. But yeah, no, this is all this weekend. Really fantastic work by the team. I got to applaud everybody.
So what happens if there's an error with the order and they go, oh, wrong one? Do they keep that? I mean, I don't know what the cost is to the Peace Corps, and it comes back.
Yeah, I'll text right now an error message, just some crazy stuff. Oh, I'm disconnected. Can you not see that? Let me reconnect.
Okay.
The internet's fine.
So you should immediately receive a message saying either we couldn't parse this, it was gibberish, or we don't have the item that you've asked for, or something. If we just don't recognize it.
Yeah. So if there's any error, what happens is there is a series of automated messages that we've already created in the system and their log for different error paths or different error reasons, like invalid, PCID, or we don't recognize who you are, or the medicine, the short name is too long, or it doesn't make sense.
And part of the goal there is PCMOs spend a lot of their time fighting. You know, they get a request for something that's just total nonsense, and it's an administrative detail that they shouldn't have to handle.
The other thing we're doing is we're mitigating through error messages and system messages the possibility of people actually doing multiple duplicate orders over and over because their confidence level is low. So the system just auto-generates like, you got it, please don't send it again.
So I just happened to find the number that can I just send in random orders? Is it just a guy that has a cell phone, or do you have some way to block?
So we track the incoming number and the Peace Corps volunteer message ID that's keyed off of every number, and we'll use that.
So match those two up.
And on the web form, there's a login. So if you go through the web, there's a security area.
You're working off a predetermined set of inventory or SKUs or whatever. I mean,
right. The medical officers should have all that data.
We have a standard medical kit that has certain contents. We tell our volunteers we will replace these for you.
All right, and there's a certain range. You can't order 2 million or something, or whatever.
There's also remains the human element, like the PCMOs reviewing these orders just in an easier way. So they still can do the thing if that's a terrible order or whatever. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Next we have small business, how do I? Next way up, and then real track. Raj, get ready. Before they come up, I want Heather Miner to stand up. She wasn't in. She was actually setting up all the party stuff outside. Give a wave.
I don't know if y'all realize how much Random Hacks of Kindness grew up this, became like all thrown out things to her this time. So she really did so much work.
Thanks, Heather.
Woo!
And she's also like helping organize all the other hackathon or Civic Hack Days in Augusta, Columbus, Macon, Savannah, Dawsonville. So she's also doing that, so she'll run up to her office and kind of help them and then come back down here. So she's been busy as well. And she's the, I was about to say, she's the one that has to bring the beer as well. So personally,
You should have started there.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Windows Girl, so I'm trying to convert over. Alright, so my name is Erica Beatty, and I'm with the Small Business How Do I team. And we worked with the U.S. Census Bureau. We engaged with our SMEs, Monica Dukes and Genoa Barber. We were faced with the challenge of creating a user-friendly website for small business owners using the most reliable current census data available. Our tasks were to use the existing census data sets, extract community demographics by county, as well as ensure that we have a user-friendly interface. Our approach was to examine the current census API, develop a middleware application, and design a front-end interface. And the reason for this is because the API that the U.S. Census Bureau has is poorly documented, and difficult to interpret. So therefore, our solution was to encapsulate the API as a web service, ensure that it's fully documented, as well as create a website to utilize such web service. Our web service is versatile, and it can be utilized by a variety of other applications. Our code is up on GitHub, under Randy Tupu Census Link. So now.
All right, let's resolve this same resolution going. And I'll go. All right. So here's one of the services, or one of the applications. My name is Yolanda Davis, by the way. This is an awesome team. We came together trying to do different things, and we all came with one idea with the help of the census, ladies from Census. So this is one of the applications that actually utilizes the Census Olympics for Tupul's GitHub. And the concept is, if I'm a business owner or I'm looking to be a new business owner, I want to find out more about this space. So how do I find more information about my customer base? How do I find information on potential business areas? So we wanted to tighten up the scope and give them a really easy way for them to start that search. So as a business user or business owner, I'm going to go in and I'm going to say I'm from Maryland. We Ravens in the building? And crickets, that's all right. We're going to choose Baltimore County because I want to start a new, I want to create a shoe store or something. And I'm going to get some information from Census and see how this works. But I'm also going to pull in some live data as well. So what you see on the right is some community information. What's going on in Baltimore County? Twitter feed. On the left, just a blurb on the state of Maryland or the county, Baltimore County in general. And then in the bottom, we start pulling in some census data to get some specific information on what's the income, what's the breakdown of education and race and ethnicity. I'm going to emphasize this is a prototype, so right now we just have this first draft rendering, but you get the gist. We want to put all this information that can help our people who want to create these businesses in this space, just give them information to make better decisions.
So how is a small business owner going to find out about this?
Well, we're hoping that the Census Bureau will allow us to put a link with this on our homepage so that a small business user can just go to that link and go to this.
And in addition to that, part of our job is to go out and educate the community about the data that we have. So this is something that we as
information service specialists can push when we go out and do our free workshops that we do out in public and around our region as a whole, as well as the nation. It's approved by census.
There's also an existing database on small business. Where there is information on small business, it's just very difficult for a non-research person to find it. So this is the solution.
Are there any plans to work with the SBA on this? On promoting this, assuming that the census.
There can be a link, but it all has to be approved in Washington first.
How long does that take?
Next question. So I know there's a lot of community efforts. They create their own kind of, I know Atlanta has one as well. Is there any plans of maybe integrating into that and complementing some of these other regional efforts?
Well, because the census information is so specific, we don't like to use it in conjunction with someone else. They can take our raw data and convert it into whatever endeavor they have, but ours is going to basically stay the raw data.
This is one of the motivations for fixing the API.
Yeah.
Is by making it easier for other groups to do this. So the groups we mentioned up there, they were actually here and we talked to them, and so they have it available.
So the question, it begs the question, the API, now that you've made the API into a more usable web service, does that need, in order to promote the availability of that, does that need approval from the powers that be as well?
Everything needs approval, and so, but the fact that we're participating in this and they put out a challenge, this represents a great step for us to get this type of thing on an ongoing basis, because that's part of our problem. People don't recognize our brand and what we have available and how it can benefit them. So hopefully things will move a lot faster, and this will motivate them to take a look at things more like this so that we can get it implemented.
Let me tell you one of the most powerful things. This is free. This information is free. A lot of people have to pay or think they have to pay, but a lot of it, and you understand a tiny, tiny subset of what this census has to offer. I mean, we want to present it in a way that a simple user, who only has certain things they want to look for, can find it.
Is this available by, is the information available by zip code as well?
It can go down to zip code, however, because of our geography, the lower the geography you go to, the less information you get, because we're not allowed by the Constitution to divulge anything about a personal business. So if you want to look at a zip code, you will get information, but not as much as if you look at it by county.
So next up we have Real Track, one-man team. So it's gonna be good. 1 versus 16. Sleep. And next up after that we have the Socrata map manual.
Probably 10. Real track. Real track. Real track.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to be talking about Real Track. Sorry. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Real Track, which is a smartphone-enabled data collection application for Peace Corps volunteers in the field. This is an idea proposed by Julia Shoppers, who's a Peace Corps volunteer in Thailand. So basically, this is a smartphone mobile app that facilitates day-to-day data collection by Peace Corps volunteers in the field. So the stakeholders for this issue is Peace Corps volunteers and Peace Corps itself. So let's try to understand the impact of this problem. So why is data collection vital to Peace Corps volunteers? So data collection helps to gauge performance of the volunteers in the field, to understand how effective funding is, and also gives volunteers a sense of accomplishment when they look back at the end of their term of service. What kind of data is collected? A lot of different kinds of data is collected on a day-to-day basis. For example, the number of individuals reached as part of different activities, community leaders on the ground that they interact with, and different efforts to bolster communication between like, US and people on the ground. So right now the way it works is peaceful volunteers use pen and paper to record information on a day-to-day basis. So what this means is if their activity is happening somewhere outside and they forget to take a piece of paper with them, and this is by the way a long form, it's not just one page, it's a very long form, it's around 13 pages. So if they don't take that page with them, then there's a lot of data that gets missed and it doesn't get recorded. So these are some of the challenges that I faced when I started looking at this problem. It wasn't clear what parameters they wanted to be captured. There are many things that go into that are recorded. For example, the organizations you work with, communities that you work with, the number of people that interact with on a day-to-day basis, the organizations, many different things. So that was one of the main things that I had to work out. Secondly, since the idea is basically to have a smartphone application, and smartphones have obviously very limited screen real estate. So the question was how to optimize, how to better design the app so it becomes more useful. And another problem was dealing with bad connection. So you don't always have internet service in third world. I'm from third world, I know. And also there's limitations imposed by the existing system in place at the base. So I'll talk about this a bit more. So what's the solution? The solution is an Android-based app for the moment. It's Android-based. And these are the features that it supports. It's a streamlined interface. It automatically generates reports of the data that you collect. Yeah, it has things like reminders and you can record meetings and other things. The design process that actually followed was discussing with Julia and Patrick about the requirements. I developed a schema to represent the relationships. Developed a storyboard to kind of look at the flow of user flow to the app. And this is some of the design artifacts, the schema and storyboard. So basically I organize data into projects and activities. And these are some of the screenshots of the Android app. So you start with, this is the home screen that you see on the left hand side. And you can add projects, you can view projects, you can delete projects, you can edit existing projects. So since I did a lot of groundwork beforehand to kind of reduce the amount of rework that might be required, I only finished around 35%. Basic skeletons in place, UI iteration and storyboarding has been done. I've modeled data to be captured. And that's how I make it around. Right.
So how much of can you just go ahead and finish that? Or at least a sentence.
Yeah, so the stuff on the right has not been implemented at this point. And these are future directions. Obviously I have to finish implementing the version that left. I would also like to have a short pilot study to understand how the app works in the field, whether it's effective or not, maybe change something. And what I was mentioning about the system going to be in place to collect information is that every 3 months volunteers have to manually go to an email and fill out the form online. Ideally what we would want is that the mobile app would do it automatically. So that requires some kind of a web service at their end. So that's something that they have to do. So that's, and yeah, porting to iOS is another big challenge. I don't know iOS programming, but this is like the most common platform that people, volunteers on. So just some learnings from this weekend. There are lots of interesting problems.
So this, I'm just kind of curious, like, why, I mean, why it's 13 pages? This seems kind of curious.
Well, there's a lot of information that's collected. Like I said, activities, you have, for example, participants are working on the age and genders. You record organizations that you work with, communities. You have funding that you look at. You have initiatives that are mapped to different activities. There's a whole bunch of activities.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, different funding, like, you're getting money from PEPFAR or USAID, they all have different indicators that the volunteers are supposed to report back on. So it's a matter of like mixed bureaucracy between federal agencies.
They don't have to fill out all 13 pages every time.
No.
Okay.
But it's not everything. They don't do any of it right now. Because
Right, because it's too much. Exactly.
So he was really he solved the problem before, you know, like he really took the time to solve the problem before the app was created, and I think that was the real deal.
Right.
So, all right.
So next up, we have the Socrata Map Manual and Graphics team. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Socrata is spelled like that.
Oh, Socrata. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they came through.
Seattle.
Yeah.
And I didn't know.
Oh, for good space.
Yeah.
What? Because there's two terms. You might want to stay out there.
Start whenever you're ready.
Okay, we started off yesterday with this broad idea of Can I Grow ATL, which is the idea to create a website that would allow people to mark vacant lots and available lands for growing community gardens, pocket gardens, and fruit trees in the city of Atlanta. And we sort of had this general question, can we create a simple and inexpensive tool that will allow us to do this? And what we realized, we actually had this really great experience where we realized actually a lot of those tools already exist. So the last thing that we need to do is to recreate them. And so we stepped back and we said, well, then can we create a kit for really quickly implementing a map in a way that's simpler than using some of the higher end mapping services and more robust than, for example, Google Maps. And we realized that, yes, we can, thanks to Socrata, who gave us an amazing amount of help, and we spent several hours together yesterday sitting down with them, going through their tools and services to figure out how we could actually create the kind of map that we wanted to create. So once we had that all figured out, then we said, you know, what might we do with this? And there's 3 contributions that we produced that I want to share with you. And this is the team that did this. And you'll see in a second that these contributions dovetail into the next project as well. So what we did is we created a quick guide for using the Socrata mapping tool. So the idea is this tool is really actually pretty simple and easy to use. It should be able for other people to set it up. So how do we create a quick guide to do that? How do we create a series of graphics to support the process and to explain the process of collaborative mapping? And then how do we share, explore sharing the data back and forth to a CrowdMap? For those of you who don't know, CrowdMap is another mapping platform that actually has mobile uploads. And so this is the team of wonderful folks that work on all of this together. So really quickly then what we did is we went through and used the Socrata tools with data sets that we had previously identified we were interested in. This included the farmers market data that's recently been made available by the USDA, together with data that we had from the Atlanta Regional Commission on MARTA stops and other data. We put them together into the map, and we went through the process of sort of setting up this map to display this local data that was related to Atlanta food systems. And then at the end of it, or so we finished that off yesterday, and then the amazing thing is that we have a 9-page document with screenshots that will be accessible that can be shared with anyone for how other people can do this as well. So it's not so much a technical tool, but it's a handout that we can provide and people can download and say, if you want to combine together data sets using the Socrata tool, here's exactly how to do it, here's a set of screenshots and step-by-steps to do it. In addition to that, we began creating some graphics to show the process of using this collaborative mapping tool, including icons, and some of that process there. And then finally, we took the map that was created, and that became the basis for a project that's going to be talked about next. And Andrew worked on integration with CrowdMap, so moving data back and forth. And then the content from this map became the basis for the content for the Fertile Crescent, one of the pieces of content for the Fertile Crescent project, which you'll see presented in a minute.
So that was our contribution, not really a technical solution so much as trying to figure out how to use this existing service and then providing infrastructure tools so that other people could go and use it in the future.
How do you plan to let the various, well, what groups of people would this be good for, and how do you plan to reach them?
So we can put the instructions up on GitHub, which is great for those people in the world who use GitHub, which isn't most people in the world. So I think we always need to sort of acknowledge that. So I'm sure that we could go through an editing process, and then we're happy to give it back to the Socratic folks who could hand it out to all of the folks who use their platform. So that would be the easiest way to do it. Is provide them with a guide that they can share with them.
So as idea, you could take any information from the Socrata, put it on a map, any cross information that anybody wanted to.
Yeah, well, we found out is not only can you do that, but you can take information from other sources. So we had Excel files that Amanda had pulled off of regional commission maps, and then we were able to import those into Socrata, so we were able to very quickly get this matchup. For example, showing where are all the farmers markets, where are all the MARTA bus stops, so we can begin to create some sort of analysis. So the mapping tool is really, really great, but I think the thing that was most interesting is how do you provide people who might normally not want to get into Google Maps API the ability to use this.
So what would you need other than Socratic's information? Would you, a nonprofit may not have a lot of resources. So I have a laptop, I've got Socratic's data, what else do I need to buy?
Well, it's all free. So if you want to spend, really all you have to do is have a manual that the internet.
Cool. Yeah. So we got the benefit of having hours with them one-on-one, and what we were able to do is translate that into a document and then some graphics that can be used to support and explain that process.
So next we have the Fertile Crescent Urban team, and some of the last team is on this team as well. So if you're on the stay up here. After this, we have the 70 team. These are both. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Kwabena Nkrumah. I'm here with this incredible team that decided to work on a project called the Fertile Crescent Urban Ag Hack. And what we're doing, this particular process was really related to a real-world initiative that's occurring here in Southwest Atlanta neighborhoods. And so it's called the Fertile Crescent. And the Fertile Crescent is a food system planning initiative that includes the 3 neighborhoods of another project that we proposed this weekend that we did not end up focusing on, the Lion City Atlanta University Center and Asheville Heights neighborhoods, but also includes about 14 other neighborhoods along the Beltline section in Southwest Atlanta that we are calling the Fertile Crescent, which includes the sub-area planning sections 1, 2, 9, and 10, if you're familiar with that project. And the goal of this initiative is to create a local economy based upon urban agriculture that benefits urban farmers, consumers, and the overall residents in the area. This initiative is based on the Food Commons template or model for food system development. And that template has 3 main components. A food hub, a food trust, and a food fund. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go into detail about those components, but they are very defined infrastructure pieces that the developers of the food commons, through their experience and research, believe are best practices for creating sustainable local economies based on food. And so the data pieces that we worked on this weekend are two very specific components. One is the Socrata map that's referred to by our previous presenter that integrates a lot of public data sources. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. The other was a crowd map platform that is designed to sort of upload grassroots data information from residents and actors in the local food economy in the area that could be synced with the Socrata map, but also are a resource in their own around actually implementing, designing, and installing this food system. Thank you. And so the Socrata map pieces that my colleague is going to talk about a little bit have to do with these public sources, the farmers market database, grocery stores. MARTA stops are really important because a lot of food access issues really have to do with transportation and be able to get to food. Even if you have the money, if you can't get to it, you're essentially still in a food desert if you can't actually get to the floor. These other data sets reflect the quality of life issues that are active in an urban environment, particularly soil quality because of the uses that have been used previously on land. And then the crowd map piece that he's going to talk about really has that uploading data is really important because we want the residents and the other stakeholders in the area to be in control and ownership of this development process. So the ability to empower the data is really critical. So I'm going to have Andrew come up and talk about the data sets.
Afternoon, everyone. Sorry. All right, I have 50 seconds to walk through a demo. I invite you now to actually go to this website. It is up and running. It is fully functional. Everybody can contribute to it if you'd like and you know something about the area of southwestern downtown Atlanta, the Fertile Crescent he was just talking about. So let's look at the reports down here. We have multiple categories, as he was saying, grocery stores, farmers markets. Those all pop up on this map that people have already reported. We've already reported a few things that we already know of. So let's try to submit a new report. And you can do this on your mobile phone through Android apps and iOS app that's already been developed by the Ushahidi team. 17 seconds. Right. So if you want to input a title, you're completely able to add a title, a description of it. So let's say you want to say the Beltline Urban Farm, and if you want to say this is near the, I'm not sure where exactly it is, but I know that there's another garden near Lindsay Street Baptist Church. Yeah, okay.
Please continue the demo.
Yeah, okay, continue. But go ahead. You can ask questions as he's going.
Yeah, go for it. That's the question is.
Please continue the demo.
Was this started before this weekend?
It was not. This was set up in the last 24 hours.
And I don't know if this is real, but this PC's working on is actually a website within the website. It's a broader WordPress website that actually encases both of these data sets, which I didn't get a chance to draw much attention to, but it's actually a much more layperson interactive resource.
And so the thing you're focused on is the food desert concept, right? I mean,
yeah.
The idea we're
towards creating a food economy that creates jobs and wealth opportunities.
okay. So it's sourcing as well as where things are currently located.
Okay.
Right, this allows an extremely accessible way to input data from the grassroots routes.
So who do you target will be the main users of something like this?
So mostly it will be active urban agricultural actors in the area, urban farmers, gardeners, retail purveyors, whether it be grocery stores, restaurants. It's become a very hot trend in the Atlanta area. So this system brings all that activity to scale to benefit those who are not actors because it creates an economy around it that other people can better interface with. So mainly those actors and then ultimately the consumers as well.
So I was going to say it's ultimately the consumers. The actors are just feeding you information.
Well, they're the stage that would get us to a point where everybody realizes now they have another infrastructure around which they can have greater food security in the area.
So how does this, how do you plan, this is a tool, essentially. So how, tool has to be used, has to be populated for it to be useful. How do you plan to get it populated by as many of the actors as you're
we didn't have time much to talk about is that when I said earlier that this is an active initiative, there's a 25+ steering committee already developing this project since November 2012 to implement the Fertile Crescent. They will be the first users of this tool. They're active. There's subcommittees in each component area of the Food Commons model. They'll be actively populating the tool. But then ultimately we will do a community engagement process that will have average folks uploading data. I would like to have a store here. There's a piece of land here that I know the owner, they would love to let you use it for a garden or farm, that kind of interaction.
And this map integrates with the Socrata map that we showed earlier, so all the information uploaded by users becomes publicly available information.
All right.
Up next, we have writing keys, and then open elections after that.
You broke it.
All right, so our team's called Writing Check Keys, and it's made up of 6 of us. One of us is missing today. He had a family emergency to attend to. But myself, Rose Robinson, daughter Rosie Robinson, Sid Robinson, Sandra Jones, and Gopi, who is not here today. And so the challenge is, who is the Chuckese is it's spoken language. It's an oral language only. There's no writing for it, and it's slowly moving towards writing the language, and they're using American characters. So the challenge was to create a repository for anybody who's going to add their spellings of words for this one language. So there's no standard, and one of the biggest challenges is that there's many dialects in the Chud state. So that, like in English, we have Cajun and Southern and Boston English, so it's all kinds of different English. So they have the same problem, is that they have their own ways of pronouncing the words or spelling the words, now that they're using the American English alphabet. And so, so our solution was to create a database and get everyone involved, including the Peace Corps volunteers who are out in the field, and the Chuck people, the Chuckies, so that they can build their language. And so here we have an interview we did, a real quick interview we did with one of the volunteers who's out in the field.
What dialects are there?
On my specific island, there's one. It breaks down into Chuukese, and then there's Mortlockese, Sashu, Call, Northwest. Within those main categories, there are also some different spellings and accents.
And so now that was a phone conversation, and she is out there in Micronesia right now, serving with the Peace Corps. So we were able just to confirm some of the things that were posted on the Peace Corps website, and for us to start looking into how we're going to make this work. And so I don't know if you want to jump in anytime.
So what we did was we did a lot of designing, a lot of, just like Daniel said, that we actually talked to Sarah this morning. And that's why I wanted to give her kudos. We had a meeting at 2 a.m. her time. But she wanted a picture dictionary. Very simple, something that she can just go to and say, hey, I want to click on this picture. I want a Chuukese translation is to an English translation. So when we actually designed this, we actually said, okay, we'll put up very small categories, and then if I was to click on the food, it would actually bring up the English translation and then several of the dialects that they have there. Now, when we're actually thinking long term, and this is really our thinking, is that we definitely want contribution from both sides, not just from the English side, but from the Japanese people, because they are really creating their new writing language, if you will. Our solution, we had a back-end Socrata, front-end WordPress, and we're going to use AppScale, which is the Google cloud platform that you can actually, execute it on several different. And our future development is, like we said, we're going to answer some of the questions, but we've already thought about that as well.
How many people would this impact?
Actually, that's one of the things that we were thinking about is that
right now 50,000 people speak two keys.
Yeah. But to be honest, you can actually bring this to other languages, and we're thinking about for all of the Peace Corps volunteers, they actually have this challenge as well in Africa and some of the South American countries as well. So why not have that broaden out to all of the Peace Corps volunteers?
So what was built in this?
We have actually the back end. We actually have the templates, and we actually do have the WordPress, but we just need help with actually bringing everything together and making all the connection. Our database was so easy with Socrata. I was like, are you kidding me? But it was incredibly easy. We got all the data together. And the only thing we've also created a Google group so that we can contribute, because some of us have already said and committed that we were going to contribute, and Sarah's also part of that list as well. So we will definitely get feedback.
So the words that you have now, how did you get those? Is there another effort of someone recording that, or where'd you get that data?
Sarah contributed some of those words through email, and but that's once we start. What we're going to start with is just the pictures, and then let them start logging in and adding in words, the spellings.
And we also looked at things that were native to the area. So chickpeas, for example, the Chuck Island doesn't grow very much. They import everything. They also trade in US dollars. So the only thing they really grow is breadfruit, yams, bananas, and fishing is huge. But everything else everything else is imported. So the importance of identifying what was unique to them, and then thinking larger than that, what is available throughout the world.
And it's important for us as U.S. as well, because they actually can join our military
and live and work in the United States without having a citizenship or permanent residence.
I have one question. It's a yes or no. Is anybody on the team a linguist?
I speak more than one language. I know the struggle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have open elections, and then there's no one else we're forgetting, right? The last one is going to be the Better Atlanta portal.
I don't have our sheets.
Oh, there's two more?
Yeah, there's two more. We need one more sheet.
Yeah, or we can write
Okay.
There's some more right there.
Oh, okay.
I think that's so cool.
Okay, so all right.
Okay.
So yesterday I worked on a pretty smallish project with Vijaya and another fellow, Daryl, who's not here today. It's called Open Elections, and it was a pre-made project. It's not something new we just did this weekend. So this is a national project funded by the Knight Foundation, which is this huge journalism grant-giving organization. And
they are essentially crowdsourcing the effort to compile free, comprehensive, standardized linked set of election data for all the U.S. and including federal elections and all statewide elections. So the thing we had to work on was to do this for Georgia, for the state of Georgia. How do we find this elections data, and how do we get it into a state that we can bring into this common data format so that everyone can kind of use it across all of these. So the way we did this is we actually just went to the state of Georgia's Secretary of State website. We found all the listings of the data that was available. And so in this case, this data for U.S. Senate in 2002 is essentially available county by county, and it's just really just HTML. So the task was to essentially enter into the Open Elections dashboard all this data. So we would go in and kind of enter in piece by piece exactly where this data was from, what elections it, what kind of elections it pertained to, and it was a pretty quick project. We didn't actually build anything. We were really just doing a lot of data entry and helping out this wider national open election project. By the end of the effort, we had 39 data sets entered into their portal. So now the National Open Elections folks can look at the data sets that we compiled and figure out, okay, this is what special elections data looks like, this is what primary data looks like, and compile it for the kind of the national effort. And so that was pretty much it. We got this up yesterday afternoon in a few hours, and the next step after this is to actually figure out how to slip in all this data from the Secretary of State's website into their API so that other folks can use it in this content. So just a little bit of background. I actually volunteered to work on this project months ago, and it was great that this event happened because yesterday morning I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to work on it this weekend. And I got some help to do it, and it was really awesome.
So what's the purpose of this? Is it to provide auditing of elections? I mean, like, what's the purpose?
So it's it's just to provide, the technical purpose is to provide a comprehensive national data set. The people that would use that are mostly journalists looking at, or even academic researchers looking at long-term trends of election data. How do electorates shift county by county, precinct by precinct over time? Maybe even looking to voter suppression efforts and try to find things around that. So it's essentially for researchers, journalists, and then civic hackers who want to take their research.
Could you layer the data information with population change?
Yep, I mean, definitely could. I mean, the idea of having this data in a really easy to work with format is that so it's very easy to map what's like that.
Has the Knight Foundation indicated how they would allow the data to be used?
I believe it's going to be just an open, really permissive, liberal open license.
How soon would this be? I mean, would you be able to make this data available after election?
I believe after an election.
Yeah, theoretically.
So
once
yeah,
it's
this
Florida.
does not. The focus is not on real-time data, like during election day. But as soon as the Secretary of State's and all the states publish the data, hopefully as soon as that. Thank you so much.
Better than last? Last group. The party away.
Oh, that must not have been a group. Oh, better.
punish any judges.
So this is a project actually that Carrie, myself, and a couple other people, some in the room actually, started to brainstorm. I want to say a month or two ago. Basically, the idea is that there's more and more hackathons that keep happening every couple of months. A lot of them are civic-minded, and there's a lot of awesomeness happening, but it's kind of all fractured. And sometimes it can be really hard to find out if you are a hacker or anybody who wants to work in civic hacking, whether you're a developer or not, what types of projects you can work on, what data sets might be available, what projects might have been started that you can contribute to, and that kind of stuff. So this project is a little meta because it's a project about civic hacking at a civic hackathon. So I kind of pitched this on Saturday morning, not sure if people would participate, and we really got this project a lot further. We actually have monthly meetings about this. Prior to Saturday, all we've done is really brainstormed and created user stories, so we hadn't really gotten that far, and I think this definitely got us a lot further in just a weekend, because monthly meetings only take you so far. Matilda and Carrie, we had this idea a couple weeks and months ago.
There's a few in the room that are involved as well.
And then Diane and Alicia, what we ended up working on for several hours yesterday was the taxonomy, and Alicia can talk a bit more about that. Jack played around with the database of Cicada. Landon last night threw up a WordPress prototype at 2 a.m. On the Basecamp we've been using. Luigi today and yesterday as well worked on another real prototype, and we're going to demo that. And Chimidu also put together the beautiful design script. So, you guys want to show it?
Demo, yeah.
So this is a WordPress prototype I put together really quickly. You can browse projects. There's also pages for people who work on the site and run different projects. So this is, I've been kind of keeping track of all of you and what you've been working on. So I'll just go a really quick example here. And so you got project description, problem, solution. These are all custom fields that you can create with WordPress. And what data sets you might use, organization, technology. And this is kind of a visual representation of what the taxonomy that they developed yesterday was. So if you want to join this, feel free to join.
All right, so a lot of people, you love being here, you love contributing to the environment, to the city. Unfortunately, a lot of your ideas have legs, but they won't move further than this weekend. And what if you could give your ideas a place to live where other people can go in and contribute? Like was mentioned earlier, GitHub, not everyone knows about it. Pet Facts, talking about their idea not dying on the vine. Some people wondering how to market their ideas. This is the perfect place, I think, for all that stuff. So here's the user interface. Go ahead.
So this is a search aspect of it. So I was also throwing in data, and so let's say I want to know all Peace Corps stuff. I just write Peace Corps, boom, right there, all the Peace Corps stuff. I want to look at Ruby on Rails apps. Because I'm a programmer, I know Ruby on Rails, boom, the Ruby on Rails apps.
Also tags up here that you can sort by. Let's go into the. So this is what a profile would look like. So there you are. You have the title, brief little description. You got a screenshot with a description of it. Then you got project details, the problem, the solution. They're happy to add anything else. You got a timeline. Okay, where is this project? I'm interested in getting involved. Where are they? Technology used. If I'm a developer, this is my domain. I can help you. Partners you work with. And then you can just see as we scroll up.
How do you continue to populate it? So some of our apps that we did at the GovCon are now actually being used. So who would be the ones to be responsible to go out and say, oh, this is where it is now?
So, there's two elements to that depending on what you meant with the question. Like I mentioned, there's several people, there's actually 40 people on the Basecamp, and a lot of people who sign up for monthly meetings. So there's definitely a core group of people who are committed to the actual content on the website, it's good. You can contact me here and how useful it was. But then if you talk about the projects themselves, we try the whole idea to make sure there's contact info for people who are hosting the project here. You can create teams and members. I don't think you have to scroll down, so if you want to scroll down and show the meetup at the bottom. You can also be like, hey, this project is meeting up, and just link out to meetup.com. The other thing is that this is not meant to replace GitHub or Meetup or any of those websites. It's just meant to be a central aggregator and then link out to all those places.
So I have a suggestion. Think about ways to Wikipedia's this for it to be sustainable. This still relies on that core group of highly motivated people who will show up for meetings monthly, weekly, whatever it may be.
And
so,
we actually talked about making a wiki. We thought that
not necessarily using wiki technology. I'm not suggesting that.
idea. And we discussed this and I think we thought that more highly curated would be a better launch. We really want to be simple and clean to start, and we tend to not be like that, but I think long term we do want to map the core grid. Anyone should be able to add to it. Right. We haven't. It's not fully fleshed out though. Can anyone come in and edit? Can I edit a project that someone else wrote, or this? That you get role-based permissions and all these things all over each other, right? So we haven't gotten to that part.
All right. To answer that question, the idea is that anybody could add a project, but the taxonomy would be maybe less wiki-ish because we don't want that to get all messy. Because the very purpose of this is for it to be searchable and taggable. And if all the tags are kind of all over the place, then it won't be so easy.
Just one point. And I may have to recuse myself or recuse myself. Thank you from voting, since I'm one of the people that gets this every couple of days. But I think one of the question is whether it's meant to be a project management tool or a communications tool. And a lot of what you started doing was the project management piece, the sort of the stages. I don't think that's as valuable as the idea of here's some ideas, here's some people, here's some energy and thought going into something kind of a deal.
Yeah, one person named it like a connector.
Well, there's a play on
yeah.
Because it's a connector, but it connects people, projects,
Yeah.
technology. So yeah, that's really what it's about. It's also to highlight it. So like the rest of Atlanta knows what we're doing.
Right.
The reason there's a timeline is that sometimes
You gotta. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, is Heather in here anywhere? No? Okay. Well, I want to thank the sponsors again, all the judges, and really just everybody, yourselves. You should give yourselves a round of applause, I think, for showing up. I know you're excited and want to know who wins. So the judges are now going to deliberate and go through their scores and try to come up with at least the first, second, third team. We'll give away some prizes and stuff. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to all get your stuff, pack up. You can throw it in your car. You can just keep it with you, whatever. We're going to go to the tent outside, and we're going to have a drink. There's already a band playing out there. And the judges are going to deliberate, and then we're going to go outside. We'll announce the winners outside.
Ricky, we're going to stay.
Yeah, cold.
It's cold. Everything's
As
cold.
much as cold as can be.
Pick up your stuff and throw trash away from the around you. Otherwise, I have to do it. Please pick up your trash and throw it in the trash. You'll trace that out.
She was the one who was like,